There is a new producer's letter for DC Universe Online. Let's talk about it. Hello, heroes and villains. Welcome to Multiverse. Yes, the evil devs stole my tagline, heroes and villains. Although they just say heroes and villains, they don't say hello, heroes and villains. So they start by mentioning the Light and Rain story arc, which will be pretty much a story arc for the next year. There's going to be 4 DLCs with the story arc. The first DLC was Day of Reckoning. The second DLC, we don't have the name of the second DLC just yet, but we will talk about that a little bit later in the video. And they mentioned some of the stuff we got so far this year, the 64-bit client, the all-new event system, the annual campaign event, the elite R&D recipes, the renown system that was changed, the cross-faction leagues, and the casual mode that was added for roughly 50 instances. And of course, the elite henchman we got not too long ago with unique power set abilities. They also mentioned mail in-game cash to your alts. I have to admit, I haven't done that in a long time. I had not even noticed that they had changed it again. For the 64-bit client, full disclosure, I did not even notice a difference since they added that, so I don't really have anything to say about that. For the event system, I kind of like the way it works. I wish we had some of the events a bit longer, like some of the events, like the Superman Day event, was only available 2 weeks. I wish it lasted a bit longer than that, but it's a minor issue. For the campaign, for people who play the long game, you will be able to get a Wolfpack token at the end of the campaign, or you will be able to get the mighty shaded comic chroma material if you want to. There will be other choices also that you will be able to choose from at the end of the campaign, but I'm pretty sure that most people will take the shaded comic chroma material, and some people might take the Wolfpack token. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. But if we see 1,000 players with the shaded comic chroma material at the end of the year, I will know that this is what people chose. For the R&D recipes, it's easy enough to be able to get the plans. The real issue is that I was not able to craft a single elite piece of gear just yet. Although, full disclosure, I did not play the DLC as much as I should have. Also, they made changes to the renown system. Again, full disclosure, it made no difference to me. I was able to get the renown easy enough for the Harley Quinn vs. Apocalypse DLC, and it was pretty much the same way with this Day of Reckoning DLC. So in my case, it made no difference, but maybe it was able to help some people to be able to get the renown they needed. Let us know in the comment section below if the changes to the renown system was able to help you get the renown, or if it made a difference for you guys. There's also the cross-faction leagues. Again, I can't really say anything about that because it didn't change anything in my case, but I did see some people who did seem to benefit from the cross-faction leagues. Again, let us know in the comment section down below if it was a benefit to you, the cross-faction league thingy. They also mentioned a new casual mode. I didn't really use it, so I can't really say anything about it. And for the elite henchman, yeah, the elite henchman seems to be a popular option. You may have noticed when we play live at 5, there's always a handful of people in the group who uses the elite henchmen. So the elite henchmen are pretty powerful, and also they have abilities that the other henchmen don't have. Like they have healing abilities that the other henchmen don't have. So it's easy to understand why a lot of people seems to be using those henchmen. And again, for the mailing in-game cash to your alts, I did not even notice the change, so I just noticed it here for the first time. So this pretty much covers some of the new stuff or the changes we got so far this year. Now if we take a look at what's to come. So in addition to keep on working on the Light and Rain storyline, of course they are developing some new stuff for the game, and one of those things is the artifact system. It seems that they are going to make some big changes to the artifact system, one of which is that we will be able to use 2 additional artifacts with our characters. So basically we will be able to use 5 artifacts total with our characters. Technically more than that if you count armories and diverse roles. So let's say you will be able to use 5 artifacts, let's say for your DPS role, and then you could use 5 other artifacts for your, let's say, healer role or controller role or tank role. Why are they doing that? Obviously, if people can use more artifacts, they will have to rank up more artifacts, and odds are they will spend more money on the game to to be able to rank up their artifacts, or to purchase Wolfpack tokens, you decide. Also, depending on the way that they do update the artifact system, it could be that maybe they're trying also to get rid of artifact swapping. How could they do that? It would be simple enough. They could have a UI not unlike what we have for the allies, which would make it more difficult to swap artifacts. Also, some people are asking, what does it matter if people can swap artifacts? Well, the problem is that there are some groups, there are some players that if you do not swap artifacts, they will kick you out. So sadly, artifact swapping affects everyone. So even if you decide not to use artifact swapping, you're still affected by it one way or another. And next they mentioned the allies. So they will make some changes to the allies, one of which is that the allies will stick around for much longer. How longer will they stick around? I guess we'll have to wait and find out. But in the case of Cyborg, it was a bit laughable. Like Cyborg would come in, do his attack very quickly and leave as quickly. And sometimes he would be there only barely a few frames. You could literally blink and miss out Cyborg being summoned and then leaving. Now, could they maybe make allies so that maybe it could replace the robot sidekick? Like instead of summoning the robot sidekick, maybe you could summon one of your allies that would stick with you and play the missions with you. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see for that. But I can understand that they're trying to limit the amount of summons that people have in the game. But an easy fix, in my book, would be that if you do summon, let's say, an ally to follow you around, you cannot use a robot sidekick. But anyway, at this point, all we really know is that they are planning to make changes to the ally system. But what those changes are exactly, we don't really know. We'll have to wait and see, I suppose. And next, they do mention the private matches. So basically, we'll be able to go into missions, even if you don't have enough people to play the missions. So if you try to play an 8-player missions and you only have 7 people, 6 people, you will still be able to enter the mission and hopefully complete the content. We're gonna have to wait and see for that. The same for like the alerts. If you have only 3 people, but you think that we can do it with 3 people, then you will have the option to do that. Now, why does this matter? It matters because sadly there are some older missions where it's pretty much impossible to get a full group to play those missions at this time. So this will give you an option to be able to get into older missions even if you don't have a full group, and it will allow you to be able to get maybe some of the feats that are linked to those missions. And next they mentioned cross-faction leagues. Again, full disclosure, they not really use that feature, so I can't really say anything about that, but they're also looking into cross-faction grouping. So hopefully people will get the option to be able to group heroes and villains together. You may have noticed, like sometimes when we play Evil Friday, we have a hard time getting a full group. Although now we will be able to go to the mission even if we don't have a full group, but with the cross-faction grouping, we could basically just recruit heroes into our group and then have a full group to play the mission. So it would give us more options in order to be able to play the content. Again, it may not seem like an issue. If you play a hero on PlayStation 5, it's probably not an issue for you. But if you play as an evil villain on Switch on the European server, getting players to fill your group, that must be very challenging. And then they mention some sort of a broker overall. They do mention having longer consignment periods. Personally, it's more the lag. I wish they would fix the lag on the broker. Sometimes there's some lag in the broker UI. And it's very easy if you're not careful to click one time too many and end up selling an item that's worth 100 million for $1, or to end up purchasing an item that you were not really planning to purchase. So the biggest issue with the broker in my book is the lag. So I wish they would fix that, but I guess hopefully that's going to be included in the broker overall. We're gonna have to wait and see for that. And they also mention an improvement to the battlefield collisions. In a nutshell, if you play a tank and there's a whole bunch of summons, sometimes you get surrounded by those summons and you're trapped and you cannot move. So hopefully this will be a big improvement for tank players. We're gonna have to see what they have in mind exactly with this improvement. They're also mentioning improvement to the knockout revive system, but again, full disclosure, I have no idea how they plan to improve that feature. And they mentioned that there's even more improvement or upgrades coming up in the future. But here they're taking a second to introduce the new community manager, Volterra. She's been there for a couple of months now. You guys may have seen her on the forums or on the Discord. If you spend some time on the Discord, odds are you probably saw Volterra already. So she's going to be the new community manager. So they're mentioning that there should be more community events, maybe special rewards, a return of the live streams, the launch of new and expanded volunteer programs in the near future, and more. Some of you guys were asking, how can I become, let's say, a member of the Creator League? I assume this is going to be one of those programs. So some of you guys have been asking, how could I join the Creator League? The expansion of those volunteer programs will probably be how. And last but not least, they do mention the Light and Rain storyline, Chapter 2. They don't give us the title of the chapter just yet, so I guess we're gonna have to wait and see for that. Although we can assume that it is going to be Lantern related. They do mention that we are going to Mogo, so obviously it will be Lantern related. I'm kind of glad that we are going back to Mogo. We have a really nice map in DC Universe Online already of Mogo, but it's only the tunnels underneath Mogo that we have access to, and it's a really nice looking map. I wish they would use it at least a little bit more, but it would seem that we will go back to Mogo, and based on the artwork that we just saw, it would seem that we're not just going to be able to explore the tunnels underneath Mogo, but we're also going to get some sort of open world on the surface of Mogo. So you can see some sort of buildings, some sort of tropical trees. I assume this is on the surface of Mogo, but I could be wrong. I could be mistaken. Sadly, at this point, we don't have a lot of information just yet, so we'll have to wait to know more. And they also mentioned the latest story blog that was released not too long ago, featuring Jon Stewart, Kilowog, Hal Jordan, and Carol Ferris. At the end of the blog, we have Hal Jordan who's going to go talk to Sinestro. At least we assume that's what's going to happen. So does that mean that Hal Jordan will be in the next DLC? Does that mean that Sinestro will be in the next DLC? Sadly, we don't know for sure. Previously, when we had some of those story blogs, people thought that we would get a DLC with the Batman, with Catwoman, and that wasn't the case. It was just the character that were used in the blog. So at this point, we don't know. Is it going to be Hal Jordan and Sinestro in the next DLC? The blog would suggest that, but again, the previous blogs have been misleading at least a little bit, so I guess we're gonna have to get more information to know for sure. Now, when will we get more information? At this point, we don't know. Sadly, based on the previous DLC, we'll probably get more information just a few days, maybe a week before we get the DLC. Sadly, we're gonna have to wait and see for that. I guess once we do get the title for the chapter, it might give us a hint of what to expect in the next DLC. But again, this far, we know that we will be going back to Mogo. And also one more thing, we do know that they are reworking, they did rework the model for our friend Saint Walker. So we can expect to go back to Mogo. We can expect that Saint Walker will be part of the DLC. So we can assume that the next DLC will be a Lantern-focused DLC, but to know for sure, we will have to wait to get more information. And when will we get more information? At this point, we don't know. But you can be sure that as soon as I get more information, I will let you guys know about it. And one more thing that I should mention, if all goes well, the next DLC should be released late May. So obviously, if we do get more information, we should get more information before that. But at the latest, we know that the next DLC should be released late May. So at the latest, that is when we will know what the next DLC will be. Once more, we're gonna have to wait and see.